Let's bring in my guest, Avi Pazner now, the former Israeli ambassador to France and Italy. Avi, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Putin wants to sit down with Zelensky and get back to the negotiating table. Zelensky is saying no, that he'll only do that with the new president of Russia. But Avi, as a former diplomat yourself, how will having two leaders not be on the same page eventually play out?
Well, look, it is evident that Zelensky is not in a position now to conduct negotiation with Putin after he annexed 4 Ukrainian provinces. He is in a position of weakness, and of course he will not be ready to negotiate, and Putin knows that very well. I think that what Zelensky will do is to try another military push in eastern Ukraine. He has had already some successes there, and I think that he will try to push forward and to try to regain control of as much territory as he can. Today, he has also formally asked for Ukraine to join NATO. This is the first time. I don't think that it will happen soon, but at least now the request is on the table, and he will do everything in order to try and force Putin not to negotiate with Putin. He will try to do everything, including military action, diplomatic action, whatever it takes, to have Putin retreat from these steps of annexation, which are not being recognized by a vast majority of the world.
Avi, you mentioned the NATO membership and fast-tracking that bid. Of course, Ukraine wants more security guarantees at this time. As you said, Zelensky's in a position of weakness. But that request has been said by the NATO chief that it's up to all member states to decide on that notion. So it wasn't really rejected or accepted. But what could this mean now? What might the implications be?
Look, what the material implication is that it will be discussed, it will be on the table. It will certainly take a long time, because to include now Ukraine in NATO forces the NATO countries to enter into a military conflict with Russia. And this is something they do not want, absolutely not. And what I think, what it will be translated into is an increased assistance, military assistance, economical assistance to Ukraine. I think that Ukraine has been doing very well with the weapons he got from the West. And this flow will not only continue, but will be bigger. And this is the way now that the Western power can help Ukraine. They cannot now, as the situation is, include Ukraine right now in NATO, because again, that would be a declaration of war against Russia. And I don't think that Biden or Truss or Macron or Scholz or anybody else in the West is ready to do so. So what you will see is increased military aid to the Ukrainian. They have had military successes. I think they will push forward, and they will have to reach a position from which they can negotiate from a position of strength. Because if not, this will not work. And this will take time. So I think, to my great regret, that we are in here for a long conflict in Eastern Europe.
And these 4 regions that have been annexed, Putin, we know that Putin might never hand them back, but if, or rather when, the regime actually changes, do you think that there would be a chance that the occupied areas, including Crimea, will be returned to Ukraine?
Look, I really don't see for now a change in the regime. You know that Putin is not very much liked now in the West, but he seems to have strong support in Russia. And unless there is a military coup or something else at the top of the Russian political class, I don't see, for example, a popular uprising. I don't see that. Putin in the streets of Russia of all the Moscow and all the cities of Russia has a strong position. So we don't expect here a popular race like it happened against Ceausescu in Romania 20 or 30 years ago.
Avi, thank you so much. Avi Pazner there, the former Israeli ambassador to France and Italy.